right, we're continuing our trip of the East County training camps. We're out here with, well, the defending Grossmont Hills League champions. Coach, it took 13 years to get there.
Yeah,
we could talk about state championships, section championships. That league championship was hard to reach.
Yes.
And hey, it was a tri-championship, and I think maybe we can be proud, not only for the Cougars, but for the other two teams involved. What a season.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll take it. I mean, it's been since 2005, so any way I could get it, I'll take it.
How did you and Kellen feel about that? I mean, you guys are pretty good friends too, and to actually share a championship like that.
Well, I'm sure he was rooting for us pretty heavily in that last football game, so that he could help, he could share it. So, no, it was great. And then it's, all three teams are phenomenal football teams, and so just to be able to share something like that is awesome. So I'm just glad we were part of the sharing.
Dave, the Cougars went 9-3 last season. They lost to the eventual champion of the section, in Division I, the Saints, and 4-1 record. And here we are again. We're looking at, I don't want to say how rare a tri-championship was in the Grossmont Hills League. I went back through your father's records and I couldn't find that. But you know what? We could end up in that same situation this year. All three of these teams are good. Coach, you're probably going to play it down a little bit, Dave, but Dave, I got to tell you what, there are some key components that the Cougars will have to replace. They lost some key players, but really, there's some positions that they are loaded in. Coach, don't listen to that.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask you too, starting at the newer end at the quarterback position. I mean, you had Nathan last year, and he did a phenomenal job after filling the shoes of fish. It was pretty tough, but he had some good legs on him. He seemed like he was a real smart kid too, reading the field.
Yeah. I mean, Nate was quite an athlete, and that was a lucky one. He showed up, late. But I like the two kids that are competing to start this year. They're both they're football guys. Like, they've been playing football their whole lives. Jeremy Mendez-Gall is the senior. He's battling it out with Aaliyah Karisamasi, who's a junior coming up from our JV team. Just both solid football players, great student athletes, students of the game. They're the kind of kids that you want at quarterback. I mean, we've been lucky enough if you go 3 years with Fish and then one with Nathan the last 4 years, we've had pretty good quarterbacks. So for the first time in a while, we have a pretty good battle on our hands.
I mean, it almost looks like a kind of a helix-like situation that you could end up possibly rotating them. We could.
They're both very capable. So if one of them has a hot hand, then you go with the hot hand guy. And the nice thing is they're constantly working every single day because they're in a position battle, and they both want to be on the field, and they're both competitive. And they're such good kids, though. At the end of the day, whoever ends up with the starting position, the other kid will shake his hand and say, congratulations, and I'm still working to take your spot.
Dave, as good as Fish and Barnett were good over these years, Cougars are a pretty run-heavy team, really. And there's no doubt that they have the backs this year. Wesley Neely, he's been explosive on the scene since he's been a sophomore, and now Wes is a senior. He rushed for, well over 750 yards, I want to say, last season, and probably 7 or 8 touchdowns. And you have Chance Johnson in the slot. We're going to get these guys the ball, get them out into space. I think they're the type, they're not power runners, they're kind of movers and shakers.
We got a lot of skill guys. Chris Carter's in there also. Chris is super dynamic. Chance is really probably, because we have enough guys on the offensive side, Chance is going to be able to focus on defense. He's back playing free safety for us this year instead of playing the strong safety. We figure that way he can cover the whole field. Antoine Walker will play some, he's mainly a defensive guy, but he'll go over and play some offense. He's got great hands. Javiah Boyd's a name that you guys are going to read up quite a bit on. Anthony Littlejohn spent the whole offseason, just transformed himself. He went from a skinny little junior into a pretty yoked up senior. So there's a lot of dudes. I mean, and you have Wes Neely, who's, anytime he touches the ball, he can go for 6. Junior Akintunde is more of a banger.
How many names are we going to get? I mean, look
lot.
at these guys. I mean,
How about the
Dave,
kick?
this is a top 10 team in the county. I'm sorry if you don't want, maybe Coach can agree. Even we can get him to agree on
I hope
this.
so. I hope so.
This right now going to the preseason, Dave, is a top 10 team in the county.
No, absolutely, and that was going to bring me to my next question is the special teams. I mean, obviously you're going to have Chance back there, and he had a pretty one last year, as we all know. That was a dandy.
A huge one against Helix.
Oh yeah, he picked up a ball. Coach, he had a bum leg in that game.
Yeah.
He had returns earlier in the season, and I think you had to kind of shift some action away from him, and you instructed him on that play to make the fair catch and put yourself with a pretty long field with just over a minute to play in the game of the season, and he busted off a 30-yard punt return that put them into range. They went down and scored with under a minute to play, and basically caused the three-way tie.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where he outcoached me. he did it, so and good for him. He's a great kid. We'll have him, Chris, and Wes Neely back returning kicks, returning punts. That we set up our punt return team today, and all those kids battle to get on that team because I run that team, and if we score on a punt return, I take them to a Chinese buffet on Saturday morning.
Nice.
And I think last year after the sixth one, I was like, look, my entire coaching excitement is gone at this point. Like we have to stop scoring touchdowns on punt returns. So that's going to be a dangerous team. Anybody punt
Dave, this season I'm going to grab some Cougar gear on Saturdays, try to sneak in because I think we're going to make some trips to the buffet. Coach, before we move on to the nuts and bolts of this team, the defense, can you tell me a little bit of repair on the offensive line this year? We lost some big guys, but you returned your all-league offensive lineman, Darren Roldan. Who else do you have up front?
Yeah, Ulolo Samoata is going to be, he's a big left tackle for us. He goes about 6'4", 310. Next to him, you'll probably have Josiah Stewart, possibly another big kid. He's about 275. Moving to center, we're going to move Big D from center to guard. And moving into center is going to be Elias Vizcaino. Super solid, super smart, knows all the line calls. He kind of has taken over for Billy Tellis. You can't really take over for Billy.
No way.
You fill that spot, you know, the guy that makes all the line calls. And then on the left side, we got a sophomore starting, a big kid. He's gonna be a rock star, man. He's a stud, and he's only a puppy, man. He's still got baby fat. So wait till we see that kid in action.
And you were saying about we were speaking earlier about the size of the defense this year too, and I'm sure they look pretty athletic as well, and pretty quick.
Yeah. I think defense is gonna be that's our focal point. I mean, our linebackers are all back. Our secondary is all back, so literally all returning with significant playing time. Billy Tellis is again the one that you replaced on the defensive line.
No.
Well, Dave, stepping into the shoes, if you will, not really. I mean, he was a big factor last year. First team All East County as a junior. Cameron Ewert.
Yeah.
Terrific edge, terrific off the edge, and wrapping up also excellent, and starting to get some small division offers.
Yeah, he's got USD has offered him a spot on the team, and then Colton Guerrero is only going to be a junior, which it seems like Colton's been around forever because as a freshman he started the state championship game, so he's going to be something that everybody's looking at.
That's another big star, another big name, Dave, that we didn't even mention yet.
And then up front, that's where we're replacing some guys. Viliamu Morris is back. He's a real quick off the edge guy. We got a couple, I call them fire hydrants. You know, they're about 5'4". They go about 260, and we're gonna put those guys on the interior and make guys bounce the outside right to Viliamu. And then really the spot where there's kind of an open battle is our other end. We got a baseball player, John Ramirez, decided to come out and play football. Great looking kid. He's behind the ball a little bit, but he's got size, he's got speed, and he's willing to learn a 2-point game there. So
Great games to go to.
Dave, Coach mentioned Chance on offense, but I do want to add that he was all East County last year for his defensive contribution, and I would say that his offensive contribution kind of went into that
Yeah.
decision, but just shows you how much talent they have on the field at all times. And Coach, you mentioned this year looks like kind of the similar schedule, but concerned about the 3 consecutive road games. You're going to open up against a very tough opponent in Eastlake, right here in Cougar Country, but then the 3 straight road games against familiar opponents at least, Madison, Bonita Vista, and Otay Ranch. Great challenge nonetheless.
Well, and I quote, Coach said last year, he said Bonita Vista is going to be one of our toughest opponents.
Yeah.
And you guys played phenomenally.
Yeah, yeah, and that, you know, we're going to know how good we are in the first 2 weeks. I mean, you can't open up against a team like Eastlake and Coach McFadden, and, you know, he's going to expose any weak spots that you got, you know, running that wing tee stuff, and then you turn around and you go up against Rick Jackson over at Madison, and, you know, if he sees anything from week 1 that he saw as a weakness, he's going to expose you. The nice thing is that our bye week is right after that, so anything that I love playing these tough opponents early in the season. Last year we opened up with Carlsbad. They showed us a bunch of mistakes we were making, you know, and then if you open up with a team that you can just roll over, you really get exposed later in the season. So I'd rather get exposed week 1, 2, make all the adjustments, and then come playoff time, we're ready to go.
And Coach talked about that last year too. That's exactly what happened. Is it wasn't really the teams were beating you. You're beating yourselves on just some small mistakes. Yeah, fumbling the ball, throwing picks, and then he tuned it up. You know, a couple of games in, and what, 3 losses.
Yeah. And I said right now maybe I could just throw them all. I'll just throw them all as tri-favorites, maybe, in the Grossmont Hills League. But Coach, your work's cut out for you in league because of 2 tough road games at Grossmont, at Granite.
Right.
These are the league tests. But hey, we've got the Highlanders right here in Cougar Country.
And I bet they're going to be hungry, man. Those guys losing at home last year, they don't like to lose at home. So that's going to be a huge game. Our guys get really up for that game. I don't know if it's the 2 charter schools thing or, you know, whatever it is. I know a lot of our kids know each other and are friends with each other. So
there was something in the air to that night.
Yeah.
You could feel the pressure and tension on Helix, I'm afraid. And I'm not saying anybody predicted it or saw it coming, but talking to some other media members, it was an upset, but maybe not an unexpected one.
Everybody's a rival with everybody. When you ask anybody playing anybody, you know, Valhalla was either a rival because of the closeness to us, and Hammershaw Helmet, you know, Helix is a rivalry because of the other charter school, and we always seem to play each other week 10. And Granite's developed into a rivalry just because of the great games we've had. You know, the last 6 games have been phenomenal football games. If you're going to go to a high school game,
go to that game.
I think
the Granite Hills game.
I think I just read off Dave's schedule for the season and the games he's going to cover.
Yeah.
But Dave, before we ask, I don't want to put any pressure on the games that we're expected to win, but I think Coach knows this. Watch out for in the Hammershaw Helmet game. Valhalla may have gone 0-10 this year, but they have 3 of the top players, maybe in the county right now. When you talk about their running back Baker, they've got a transfer in Meredith, and they've got Ethan Furkish. I mean, they've got some really good. They are rebuilding there over there, so they're going to be able to give the Cougars a little bit more of a battle this year, I think.
There's not anybody in our league that you can. The coaching is just too good. Like, records get thrown out the door. You know, you have to be prepared week in, week out. I know everybody, you know, props up is it the Eastern or the Western League, whatever's got the Catholic schools in it, and then the Palomar League up north. But I'll take our league against anybody in the county. I mean, we'll go toe to toe with anybody. So it's once you get into league, it doesn't matter. Anybody can beat anybody on any given night. So.
I don't think, as we mentioned when we met with Granite, Dave, I think they're the kind of team that's really unheralded in the county. Yeah. I don't think right now, maybe last year or maybe even the year before, the Cougars were that unheralded team. I don't think any longer, Coach, I'm sorry. But the Cougars are expected to be very, very good. And I think Granite is that team that is kind of the unheralded, maybe be able to sneak into the top 10 even to open the season.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, I think that the way he touched on it is that's correct. I think you'd be more the favorite, but I think at the same time Granite Hills could be the scary team, though, that everybody.
So we know how great those games were.
Yeah, and he's got a great coaching staff. You know, Vinny's his D coordinator. He does a great job. Some unconventional things that really kind of jack with your offensive coordinator's head a little bit. Kellen's done a phenomenal job since he got there. I mean, it's not magic that they've gotten better. It's a lot of hard work that he's put in. I enjoy the game because, you know, I am buddies with Kellen and our staffs know each other. I mean, after every game, we seem to end up at the same establishment, you know, one buying the other. So it's a great rivalry. I think the kids are into it. I think the coaches are into it. But it's a healthy rivalry. It's not a negative one at all. So
Absolutely.
I enjoy it.
All right, well, that's a great look at the Steele Canyon Cougars. I hope we didn't hype up the Cougars too much. I don't think they needed any hype, really, Dave.
No, I think that they're even watching practice, they're going to be a tough squad.
Coach Scott Longerbone, thank you very much, Dave. Great job, and we'll be back with more East County football previews in the days to come.